Welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and today we're visiting with April Lamb. She's with the University of Kentucky, a postdoc student there. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about sanitation in the garden.
So sanitation is really one of our main things that we do in pathology. It's one of our main trainings, one of our main recommendations is just making sure that you are using clean tools, that you are keeping track of all of your plants. If you start seeing disease, knowing what to do to take care of those, and really just keeping your garden space as clean of disease, pathogen issues, and everything else as you possibly can.
We think about cleaning our garden tools. What's the frequency there?
In a perfect world, we would say wash them every time, right? So that will definitely clear out any issues of pathogen transfer, other issues, between your different plants. Now, obviously, realistically, you understand you're probably not going to be able to clean your tools every single time. So mainly what we would usually recommend is if you're starting to see a disease issue, right? If you're starting to see some of your crops having spots or wilting or something else, and you're just concerned that you might have something going on there, washing your tools then would be really good. So if if you've been pruning or something else, wash your tools between different crops. So if you've pruned tomatoes, wash them off before you go to your lettuce or carrots or, whatever else you're going to be dealing with. But generally, as an every time kind of rule, you want to make sure that your tools are at least clear of a lot of the soil and dirt. Most of the time, just a high pressure stream of water, so rinsing it off in a hose, or best case scenario, right, using soap and warm water to clean those off will do a really decent job of sanitizing your tools and stopping that spread, hopefully as regularly as you can. So a lot of your weeds can be reservoirs for your pathogens, and basically that just means that the pathogen lives in the weed when it doesn't have its plant that it normally wants to target, right? So if the pathogen would like to infect tomatoes and you don't have tomatoes growing in your garden right then, it can be in the weed until you plant the tomatoes and then it can hop over. So a lot of times that's why we recommend ground covers. So your mulches, plastic or fabric or wood types of mulches, that'll help keep your weeds down, but also clearing out those weeds and also any of your dead plants, any fallen fruit, clearing those out as quick as you can immediately and not leaving them there. Because a lot of times our pathogens can persist in that plant debris, right? The dead plants, the leaves, the just kind of buildup of dead stuff that you get in your garden. And especially you want to take those out as far away from your garden and throw them away. You do not want to put those in your compost because your compost pile is not going to reach high enough temperatures to actually kill off those pathogens. So essentially, if you throw those infected plants or debris or anything else into the compost and you let that go over the season, you start to grow the next season, you use that compost, you have inoculated your entire garden with that pathogen again.
Absolutely. And, sanitation is important throughout the season. However, at the end of the season, when we're done, and a lot of times we are done with the garden, right? But it's important to clear all of that debris out.
Clear all of the debris. If you have kind of an area where you're seeding and things, making sure you're sweeping all of that, just getting that debris cleared. If you're using mulches, you want to pull those mulches up and either wash them or replace them. And then that is also the time where you would do the deep cleaning of all of your tools. So using a commercial sanitizer or 70% alcohol, anything like that. So you would essentially wash your tools with water, soap, warm water and soap, and then you do a little dip into a sanitizer. Make sure you rinse that off so it doesn't rust, dry them, and then they're clean, for your next season. But you also want to make sure you do that with any stakes that you would be reusing, trellising material. If you're reusing your pots, you want to sanitize those the same that you would your tools. So again, washing them with soap and warm water, and then running them through some sort of sanitizer, rinsing that, and then they would be ready for the next season. You can do different cover crops that will just add, a little bit of that organic material back into your soil. There are some spring crops, right, that you could early plant, to keep your soil kind of just in working condition. And then you would get, some of those different vegetables and things for that spring season. But yeah, you can plant different mustards and other things that you would then just turn under the ground when you're ready to plant. And a lot of those cover crops will actually be extremely helpful with their pathogen suppressions. So cover crops are usually a good idea to, again, keep that soil there so you're not having erosion. You might be keeping your pathogens down depending on what cover crops you use. And then you're also going to be keeping your weeds down so you won't have that reservoir of pathogen there as well.
Thanks for watching and have a great day.